Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. It was very nice doing another Hilariosity. It's been too long. I hope to bring more to you very soon. As always, if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.
Ay. Wow.
Suffer as I suffer, Brian.
Okay, Matt, I totally understand a lot more now, but you could smell that jump.
Starting assignment now.
You could. The first thing that hit me was just so. It was like it came through the screen.
Yeah, it was like.
Have you ever used that one on Matt? Have you ever used that one on Matt at the show?
No, that's a new one.
That's a new one. But it's visceral, and it gives me like flash memories of like Sunday morning trips to the bowling alley with kids. That's what a waffle's first. Waffle's first.
Well, yeah, that's disgusting. The folks at home may not be able to tell, but Matt is not at the tropical island resort that it looks like he's at right now. They're actually in the same house. And Ash and I get a lot of questions as we've been filming talks and different shows at home about why we shoot in different rooms despite being in the same house. And I thought maybe since we have the creative director of Critical Role on the show that we could ask, Danny, why do we do that?
Oh, I'm the creative director.
Yeah, a lot has happened since we were the last episode.
That's very fair. It's been a while.
She was lore keeper for about 6 months, and then went to creative director.
She's a climber.
Marisha is now head of streaming for the internet. It was one of the actually crazy. Vice President Kamala Harris called her and said, "Do you want to become president of streaming? It's a new thing, you know." And Marisha was like, "I'm leaving you fuckers in the dust, but I'll do talks one last time."
Yeah, I'm clearly the best candidate and most knowledgeable when it comes to queen of streaming in particular for the internet. Yep, that's me.
No, but the reason why we film separate cameras is because it's better for the video, it's better for the audio, and
and we have specific overlays made.
Yeah, everyone wants their own window.
Yeah, it just looks better. Better audio quality at the times.
What we're not telling folks is that my screen requires so much effects and airbrushing and correction to like a lot of my spray tans and some of the different stuff, so that
there's a blackout in Burbank every time we export Talks Machina.
That's true. Yeah, I actually have 4 or 5 backup cameras above this. A couple of generators under the desk. I'm ready to go.
We've gotten a lot of work for like all the Hollywood render farms that aren't working now thanks to the lockdown.
Yes.
Happy to help out the industry.
This is the only show on Twitch that records in After Effects. Well, after the last episode, folks, we do not have a sponsor tonight, so we're going to jump straight in to the questions, starting with our wonderful Dungeon Master. Also, Danny, a lot has changed, like I said, it's crazy. But thanks for being here, Matt. No, Matt.
No worries. Yes,
after all this time, and I can't believe you have not been on the show yet, but after all this time, you finally introduced the Tomb Takers to the Mighty Knight. What was it like getting to reveal these characters that were hinted at the early stages of favorites among their ranks as well?
I'm glad we finally got to it, based on the narrative. Established them a long time ago, but it was all very loose and distant. It's kind of fun to put them back in. It's hard to not say Lucy was my favorite because when I get to play with, immediately connected to the threatening. But they've all got some fun quirks to them. For those incoming interactions. It's one of those rare experiences as a Dungeon Master where you get to watch your players combat with the the necessity of playing alone. Like, just the instinct is like, fuck these guys, I want to fight them, or let's take their shit, you know, that's what a lot of D&D games can be. There's that delightful aspect of, or I guess we have to play nice. They begrudgingly grit their teeth, and I submit.
Yeah, that's a good summation of D&D for sure. Did you, when you were definitely leading up to him back, for sure he was going to be showing up, did you go back and watch the early episodes and try to sort of nail Talisman's accent and then realize that it's just sort of, there wasn't much sort of to it, and you almost were going to start offending different types of people had you tried to mimic it, so you just decided...
You're all so mean to Taliesin. Oh, man. No, I went back and watched a little bit and was less trying to do, like, an Irish accent, but more trying to do a Molly accent. And then just kind of do my own spin on it, because, you know, I knew after I got 2 or 3 sentences into speaking in character, it would just become its own weird mutation of whatever it was going to be. So
as they all do, yeah, with the NPCs and stuff. Yeah. But oh man, that's amazing. Yeah, like with Farnham, I didn't know he was going to be Kermit the Frog. I thought he sounded like Farnham when he watched back. That's a goddamn great Kermit the Frog impression.
Yeah, it is.
I'm calling Henson Factory or whatever the fuck. Marisha, nice to have you back on the show. I know you were really busy. Marisha completed, listen to this, it says 33 puzzles between when the last talks aired, which would have been sometime around like Tuesday, December 15th, and then we went on break. 33 puzzles until the 7th. That's a crazy record, and I just wanted to give you a special shout out for that. I think tonight you should tweet maybe a picture of as many of them as you can on your coffee table. You know what I mean? Like, if they're still
would. Yeah, they were digital though. On and done, and also
they expire after like.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. You also failed to mention that I completed them all in about 45 minutes. So.
Right, but then we'd have to talk about that missing Adderall truck in your neighborhood and some of that. So we'd have to maybe tie some of that stuff together. I'd be a little worried about the threads that some of our very smart critters would. Instead, let's talk about this. How is Bo feeling? You know, anyone who thinks like the show's gonna get better next year, I see a lot of those threads, you know. How's Bo feeling knowing many of the theories about Tomb Takers, Vess, and the Living City turned out to be correct?
Oh, I mean...
That'd be a great feeling.
Jamie, what?
She straight up Mickey Mouse Club posed for that one.
No, it's I mean, it's definitely vindicating. I'm not gonna lie, it's rewarding, but also know that, you know, I write a lot of shit down in that notebook that's never relevant ever again.
But you never know, but that's why you write it all down, is because you never know. And with Matt, you really never know as a DM.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it feels, it's definitely a good feeling to know that I didn't go utterly wrong about everything that I said.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been pretty great.
So, but I was pretty, I don't know, I was pretty confident, at least in a good majority of it, and just kind of knowing what I knew, and also just kind of recognizing what I didn't fully have all the answers to yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I hope
that's also a smart way to live. That's also a smart way to live.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah, I was super proud. Like, I don't know if it shows up at all in your scenes, but I'm sitting, like, half my concentration is on trying not to show my hand. Like, the poker face is in a like super intense concentration mode, because inside my head I'm just like, oh shit, she's putting together a lot of these pieces. They've been paying attention. Nothing's worse for any sort of game master than to to want to build mysterious aspects of your narrative and to see things over a long period of time, and when it comes close to big reveals, and all your players go, I don't know. This doesn't make any sense. Well, then why am I even doing this? So, so whenever a player or your players start picking up on these threads and start unraveling the hints you've been dropping, it's a huge boon, and it feels really good from my standpoint. So I was just like silently cheering you on as you went on these long tangents, going like, oh shit, yeah, keep pulling at the thread.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but when I used to watch back in the olden times, CR on Thursday nights with a few friends of mine at home who also watched the show, Dom, Rila, a few other people. One night I said, who do you think is the note taker of everyone on the show? And my friends that were over, nope, and pretty much everybody on the show too, in real life. And know your guys' personalities in real life. And almost everybody guessed Marisha, which I thought was so funny because I never would have guessed that Marisha was. I would have thought like Travis because he's so organized and like whatever. But no, most of the time he's playing tic-tac-toe with himself and just he's not, you know, his
destroying squeeze balls under the table.
Tapping his foot down into the center of the earth throughout the combat things. But no, it is crazy. I have walked past and seen the thousands of pages of stuff that you write down. But it is cool because I also love it as IDM and stuff too, is watching someone when you're really dropping something that you hope at least one person in the group knows, but then they might bring it up and kind of jot that down. And then when they bring it up later, it's even a greater deal, like you were saying. But, you know, we could only hope to have players like Marisha, but
and a lot of it too,
players like Sam.
in full admittance, a lot of it too, because I do think there is such a thing, especially if you have disorganized notes. There can be a thing it's almost like too many notes, because then key information can get lost in, you know, too much fluff being written about it or anything like that. So I've kind of gotten good at trying to find that balance, I think. But also a lot of times, if you see me jotting stuff down very quickly, a lot of it also just has to do with the type of learner that I am. If I'm someone where if I write it down, if I, you know, see myself putting those words on paper, I'm a little bit more of a visual learner in that way. And so that kind of helps me keep track of everything as well as Matt is really even just describing the scenes sometimes, because I mean, let's be real, sometimes there's a lot of information flying at you very fast.
Yes.
So in order not to get totally lost, I mean, some of my notes, some of my notes even include, like when we were doing form fight, and we were trying to get there, and we were going down these winding hallways, and saying, this is you see on the right, this is you see on the left, tunnel, this is to the left, but then it also branches off to the right, or all these different ways. I'll quickly start just doing like a rough sketch of a map on the page as well. And a lot of that is just like, you know, for the type of learner that I am, that just kind of helps in the way that I'm able to digest things. I think, like, talking about Travis, to his full credit, I think he's very good at auditory learning. Like, if he's listening, he's got it. He tends to be pretty good at that.
Yes. I will test him sometimes. Like, if I used to be at the office and he would be on his computer and super sucked in, I would tell him like 5 things in a row just to see, you know, and one of them would be untrue, you know, just to see if he's paying attention. I'd be like, yeah, I went to the post office and the line was super long, but like, it was cool because there was this kid, he kind of had, you know, cool sneakers on, so, you know, I took them from him, and then, you know, yeah, you know, good days and sneakers, whatever. Travis was like, and then the dad knocked you out. Yeah, I'm listening, motherfucker. I'm listening. I can do 10 things at once. Try me, you know? So then I'll lie to him while he's typing, and I'll start throwing stuff, and he catches it. It's really annoying, but he's so... he can... He's scary that way. Everything that goes in there stays in there. It's like, I don't like people like that. I like people that forget everything you say to them.
You're less Travis's friend and more like his floating Jedi training ball.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yep, that's perfect. Matt, speaking of balls,
Yes.
what does Lucian think of the Mighty Nine? Who seem to be strangers. Okay, we know he's not a fan of Bo. Are there any other individuals he's particularly intrigued by?
No way.
Without Lucian, he's definitely curious about why they're getting involved in his ship, what vested interest they have in this, and what they're planning alongside him. He's watching it from a distance. I think, one, he hates Bo because he doesn't like people that challenge his authority. Never has. That's been a lifelong facet of his personality.
She won't stop anytime soon.
I know, and it's going to end very well. I think he gravitates towards Jester to an extent because he's the most famous, also from the standpoint also climbing to the easiest to manipulate, if that makes any sense. At the very least, to the point where he doesn't feel like he'll be challenged as often, you know? Except going to affect his Beauregard. He'll say something, Beauregard will be like, oh, but you're wrong. Jester will be like, okay, and just accept it. And so to him, it's an easier, more malleable relationship to continue on this journey with. I think he loves toying with curiosity, and so between Jester and Caleb, who is also easily drawn by curiosity, those are the two people that he seems to feel it at this moment. With the brief interactions they've had, he's probably the most comfortable
Got here as quickly as I could.
interacting with. Caduceus makes him feel a little weird. Can't quite pinpoint him.
First I'm hearing it.
Yeah, no, he's, like I said, trying to be very vague in these instances. He's definitely amused by them. He is amused by them. He is curious about what their small scale and macro scale they're doing are, and I'll leave it.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about some of the curiosity-driven characters, because our curiosity-driven characters in this cast, goodness, their impulse toward curiosity comes from different places, right, Caleb? Like, it's so interesting. Like, what drives us can often manifest itself as one of the same things, except it's driving us for a different reason. And I love that in both campaigns you have examples of where, without really spoiling anything from campaign 1, for those of you that haven't seen it, except for that they all died the second to last episode. Oh my God. The final episode is just me reading off their names for 3 or 4 hours, even though there was only 7 of them. But you know what I'm saying, Matt.
Yeah, it's fun, and to an extent, the difference between player and character as well. You know, Travis is my usual go-to carrot on a stick, shiny red button, push the thing you're not supposed to, and he can't fight that impulse, or normally can't when there aren't major stakes necessarily.